All right. Can you hear me now? Maybe I'll take this headphones off, and maybe she can hear me now. Thank you, Vicky. Thank you, Vicky. Can you hear me now? I don't know why this isn't working. I've been having some technical issues here. Let me try this again here. Headphones in, microphone in. Um, let's see if that works. I can't tell because I have nobody I'm playing across of. I'm hoping that it's not a problem. Let me write. I'm going to send a tweet to her to see if she can hear me now. Hopefully she can. Okay. Can you hear me now? I need to just double check this because doing a show like this by yourself and nobody can hear you is not a good way of doing things. So I can't hear anything. And once again, I'm doing it by myself, so I can't. Everything seems to be plugged in here. As I said, I've been having some issues with Google Plus tech issues, so hopefully that's going to work on that. She responded back to me. Yes, loud and clear. Yay! Thank you, Vicky. Thank you very much for letting me know that you couldn't hear me. So I probably talked for about 10 minutes and nobody could hear me. But just in case I did and nobody heard me, Sinestro number 5, Future's End number 17, Batman Eternal number 21. I already talked about them, so you can make up. I showed you the artwork and stuff like that. You can make up what I had to say. Maybe I should go back and do it. Well, let's go ahead and just go back and do it again. What's Vicky say here? Yes. Okay. Alrighty, let's go back and start over again real quick. So let's just do this real quick. Holly Wilson. All right, let's do this again real quick. Sinestro number 5, Daily Gusham artwork, Colin Bunn, Hal Jordan makes an appearance in it. Good book. Definitely helps out with the Green Lantern series. The whole series of Green Lantern books is doing fantastic. Future's End is one of the weeklies. Is also the one that is going to be the September big tie-in of the month. We'll talk about that in a little bit. This one reveals who the Superman is. It's quite a surprise. I'm not gonna spoil it. It's actually pretty interesting. It also has an appearance by John Constantine. There's John Constantine. And it's written by Brian Azzarello, Keith Giffen, Dan Jurgens, and Jeff Lemire, with art by Patrick Zurcher, who does some pretty good artwork. Here, I'll show you some more artwork than I did before. So I'll just go over this again real quick since I got caught. Batman Eternal number 21 is the other weekly book. Once again, multiple writers on weekly books. It's Scott Snyder, James Tynion IV, Ray Fawkes, John Layman, Tim Seeley, Jason Fabok on the artwork. The return, it's an Alfred-centric issue. The return of a DC or Batman villain that hasn't been seen for a while, and also another double cross by one of the characters. So pretty interesting. Now we're back on top. Once again, thank you, Vicky, for I don't know what happened. So hopefully things are moving smoothly now. So as I was saying, so they do. DC's been doing these variant covers lately. I remember the Bombshell one was the first one where you have the women who are part of the comic in seductive 1950s, 1960s style bombshell poses, 1940s bombshell poses, stuff like that. Then there was the Batman ones where Batman was added to every cover in some form or another, even if he wasn't in the book, to celebrate his 60th anniversary. This one is the selfie ones, which I really honestly don't like the word selfie, but there have been a couple of good ones, but here's the selfie one. This was the only one they had left of Superman number 34 at the comic store. So I picked this one up because I needed to read it and get it in my collection. Next month, or this month rather, is the Future's End books, which you'll see what that variant is in a few minutes. October is the horror ones, where you're going to see horror characters, the DC heroes in old style horror poses. Like good examples, Batman and Robin are going to be mummies, and Batman and Robin, stuff like that. November, I think, is a Lego variant cover, and then December is, I think, Bruce Timm is doing his variant as well. So, but let's get to this. Back to this. Superman number 34. Superman's been one of those books, one of those characters in the New 52 who's kind of been not ruined, but has caused me not to really get behind Superman, in comics, and I haven't really started reading this until the Doom storyline that started a few months ago, and then the announcement that Jeff Johns and John Romita Jr. were on this book. They've been on this book now for a couple of issues, and the story is bringing Clark back to the Clark we know and love from the previous 52. So it's a interesting story with a new character being introduced. And good artwork by John Romita Jr. He's one of those artists. He's been around since the '80s. You either love him or hate him. I like his artwork most of the time, especially with Klaus Janson inking him, who was inking him on here. So some pretty good stuff. And Jeff Johns is writing the heck out of the book. So entertaining book. I really have enjoyed Superman since Jeff Johns came back on, and the Doom storyline has been pretty good as well. So maybe Superman has finally come back to his own. Justice League Dark, number 34. I love DC's supernatural characters, and they have a whole Justice League just devoted to them. Sorry for the shininess. My light above me burned out, so I got another light over here, so it's a little shiny. But James DeMatteis is the writer. He's the perfect writer for this because he's really good at writing supernatural-esque type of things. Andreas Guinaldo is the penciler, and Walden Wong is the inker. Basically, you've got Deadman, Constantine, Zatanna, Swamp Thing, Black Orchid, a whole bunch of people teamed up to take on the supernatural characters, and it's a good book. Justice League Dark is really good. There's rumors that there's going to be a movie or TV show coming up with them, and the Constantine TV show is going to maybe focus on some of the characters, so that's pretty cool. This is one of my favorite comics nowadays, and people have been watching this show religiously know which one I'm going to talk about right now. It's Flash number 34. Robert Van Jensen, or Venditti, I should say. I should say Robert Van Jensen. It's funny because Robert Venditti and Van Jensen are writing it, so it's just funny to call them just Robert Van Jensen in general, to combine their names, are writing it, and Brett Booth and Norm Rapmund are doing the artwork. It's a great story. It's introduced Wally West into the New 52 in a way you're not expected to. The storyline is excellent, fun, futuristic, going to be tying into the Future's End story. And there's massive changes afoot coming up, and so very interesting, great artwork by Brett Booth and Norm Rapmund. Really appreciate it. Some really good, just a really good story, really good artwork. So The Flash is a good one to pick up. That's all my DCs. I told you it was a light week. The 27th was. I only got only one Marvel. It's Silver Surfer number 5, written by Dan Slott with art by Michael Allred. Dan Slott is a big Doctor Who fan, and this is the closest he's coming to writing a Doctor Who story because he is basically making the Silver Surfer the Doctor, and going to have a companion, a female companion, and they're going to explore crazy stuff. And Mike Allred is a perfect artist for the book. So if you like Doctor Who, I highly recommend checking out Silver Surfer. It is absolutely brilliant. Normally, I'm not a big fan of Mike Allred's artwork, but it fits perfectly, and it looks gorgeous. And Dan Slott's doing a really good job writing it. So I just love this cover with the Hulk getting smacked by the Silver Surfer surfboard. So that's the only Marvel I got this week. The only independent I got is, speaking of Doctor Who, is I got Doctor Who number 2. This is the 10th Doctor. The 10th Doctor, who is slowly becoming my favorite. Eccleston, I like Eccleston. I love Eccleston. I think he's great. But the more and more I've been watching Doctor Who, the more and more I like Tennant's Doctor Who. And so that's why I've been buying just this one. This is issue 2 of the 10th Doctor Who. The 11th Doctor Who, with the Matt Smith one, also has a comic out. I haven't seen any of his shows yet, and the ones I've seen a couple when they during the marathon, and to be honest, I didn't really like him, but people are telling me you need to see him chronologically to get into it. But there's the new Doctor Who. This is from Titan Books, which is a English company, so it's artists you probably never heard of before. What is writer artist Nick Abadizis, Elena Casagrande and Ariana Florian are the creative team on this, and for the most part, he looks like Tennant, and if you like Doctor Who, it's a Doctor Who story set during Ten's run, so check that out. So that was 8/27's haul. So I'm going to put that down over here. The biggest haul I have, believe it or not, is not this week's haul. It is last week's haul. Which is this. I got all these at, I think I got all these, with the exception, I think, one book. No, 3 books. With the exception of 3 books, I got all these at the Baltimore Comic-Con. So when they came out last week. So moving on this. Now, as always, DC's first, Marvel second, Independence third. These are the books that came out the week of Labor Day. So what would that make? That would be the first, second, third. Let's see, what's today? Today is the 10th, so 7 days back. The 3rd. So September 3rd, these are the books that came out September 3rd. As I mentioned at the top of the show, the New 52, DC Universe New 52, started in September of 2011, and so every year in September, DC does a monthly storyline that's self-contained, or the issues are self-contained. So if you haven't been reading the comics, you're not going to get lost. So what they're doing is, after September, they start the story arcs from October till August. Story arcs and stories, they lead up to that, and then they end in that August, and then they have this break for a month, and then they go back to new storylines, stuff like that. So they did that. The second year, the first year, after their 1 year, 2012, their September books were all 0 issues, and they were filled in the gaps of some of the origins of the heroes. Last year, it was all villain books, so there were 52 villain books using villains from the books. So there's like a Lex Luthor one, and a Sinestro one, and a Black Hand one, and all that, and all those. So there was all villain books, tie into Forever Evil, which was the big thing coming out last year. And this year, it's Future's End. I'll show you the first cover in a second, tying into the weekly miniseries that I showed you earlier. As I said, there's 2 weekly miniseries. There's Future's End. There's Batman Eternal. There's going to be a 3rd one. I think it's called World's End, which is going to be detailing the Earth 2 storyline. And all 3 of these weekly books are going to end sometime, I think, in March or April, just in time for the 30th anniversary of Crisis. So a lot of people are thinking that it's going to be a new Crisis in the new DC 52, and all this stuff is leading to it. So the Future's End one-shots that you're going to get this much in September, there's 52 of them. Not all of them are, most of them are one-shots from books that are out, but there's I think there's a Booster Gold one. I don't think Superboy has a series anymore, but he's got one also, and there's some other ones as well that are popping in there. But these are all one-shots where the storyline is, the creative team sets where they want to be heading in 5 years. So every one of the books in the Future's End one-shots that come out this month is 5 years ahead, and it gives you a future look at that specific hero. And that also ties into what the variant cover is. This should be very interesting with the way the lighting is, but the variant cover is sort of I forget what you call it. It's a movable one, where you get one cover here, and then you shift it another way, and something else pops in. Boom, boom, stuff like that. So they come in 2 versions. You get this version, which is the variant cover, and then you can get the ones that you don't have this little switcheroo cover thing. But the first one they released was Action Comics #1, One Shot, Future's End #1. Taking a look at Superman in Action Comics 5 years ahead. Writer is Shali Fish, who is actually not writing Action, which is interesting, with art by Pascal Alix and Vincente Cifuentes. So basically, it's where's Superman 5 years from now? Is there new characters? Is there a new Superman? This is a flying woman, so I don't know who the woman is because I haven't read the issue yet. So we'll find out. And is Superman even in this book? Yeah, it looks like he is, but not until near the end. You know, it's it's basically it's a one-shot. So if you just want to get into comics or whatever, I don't think you need to know much about where the stories are going and who the characters are. They should be able to be introducing them. It's a one-shot, so it's not really. There might be threads that are in here that might start appearing in the regular series when they come back to their regular stories, or it's just to celebrate the September month. So that's Action Comics. Here's Green Lantern, Future End #1. Boop, boop, boop. He's like a stone there, and then he's like a person there. So this one is written by Robert Venditti, who is the regular writer for Green Lantern, but multiple artists are involved in this one. Martin Coccolo and Aaron Lopresti doing the artwork in this. We're getting an idea of where things are going. From what I've been seeing, it looks like there's a new Black Lantern leader. Ghosts are starting to make their appearances again. The Green Lantern series of books has a connection to the New Gods coming up. It looks like there's a possibility of something being the storyline in here might be connecting back to that eventually, and the return of some characters like Relic, I believe, is this guy that you might not expect to see. So here's Green Lantern's Future's End #1. So once again, you can either, if you are a regular collector, you can just pick up the ones that you regularly collect because they'll probably do one for all your comics you collect. And then there might be some special ones that, in this case, September usually is a rough time because I usually tend to pick up books that I don't collect because they are one-shots, and it's interesting to see what they got planned and what's going on. So you'll see some books in here that I don't regularly follow, but I usually pick up during September just to have. Now, those were the two variant covers. As I said, every book has a variant cover, but there's a $1 difference. So financially, sometimes I got to go for the non-variant ones. So here's one of the non-variant ones where you just get, a regular cover, and then if this was a variant, you would shift it this way, and the thing would change. In this case, it's Batman and Riddler. This is Detective Comics Future's End #1. Written by Brian Buccellato, who is the regular Detective Comics writer, so that's good. The artists are Scott Hepburn and Cliff Richards and Fabrizio Fiorentino. So they also got multiple characters in this one, multiple artists, I should say, in this one, and Batman is teaming up with Riddler for some reason, so we'll have to read that and find out. So it is written by Brian Buccellato, so he's got plans probably for the Riddler coming up and other things as well. So Detective Comics #1, Future's End. Speaking of Batman, Grayson #1. Once again, I just got the regular issue. I wasn't really planning to buy the variant on every one of them, just a few of the ones I wanted to get the variant on. There's Grayson #1. Grayson I've been following a little bit, but it's been pretty interesting. Once again, 5 years later. Written by Tom King, plot by Tom King and Tim Seeley, with art by Stephen Mooney. So they are the writing team on Grayson. So we we get a glimpse into Dick's life 5 years in the future, where he apparently is no longer Robin anymore. He's still in his Grayson persona, working as super spy. So should be interesting. And I guess he does make some appearances in his old costumes, and they can look back. So basically, it looks like it is you see Grayson 5 years in the future, and it also looks like you're going to be going back in time and looking at some of his previous times as well. Speaking of some of the books, I don't actually know what. I'm going to switch this around. Green Arrow #1, Future's End. This is the last issue, written by Jeff Lemire with art by Andrea Sorrentino. So this is one of the only books that the original creative team, or the creative team on the book, wrote and drew. And it is the last issue for these guys. They are leaving the book, and they're going to have new writers. And I think the new writing team on it is writers who are doing the Arrow TV show. So we'll see what happens. I don't know who the artist is on there yet, but it's good to see Jeff Lemire and Andrea Sorrentino and their run with this future issue, and see where they would have gone in the future if they, I guess, maybe decide they wanted to keep doing it or whatever. So Andrea Sorrentino's artwork is fantastic, and Jeff Lemire is one of my favorite writers, even though he's blocked me on Twitter. I don't know why. So it really doesn't matter. So that's pretty good. And in this case, it looks like the storyline here is going to be continued in the Future's End comic number 21, which is coming up down the line. So that's pretty interesting. And we're going to see also some of these are going to be, the storylines are going to cover. Here's a good example. Here's one I don't normally buy, Aquaman. I did used to buy when Jeff Johns was on, and then I bought a first few of Jeff Parker's, but then I just need to cut and run with some because I just need to, and I just hadn't been reading them. So, but I was going to get this because I love Mara, and there she is on the cover. And you have Aquaman in chains, so we got to figure out why is that happening. Now, there's 2 Aquaman books out there, and I was looking through this earlier, and this Future's End story ties in with the other Aquaman books. So if you like the story here, you probably will have to read Aquaman and the others to finish it up. So there's Arthur in all his glory in his new costume. Who's writing it? Dan Jurgens is the writer. He's the writer of the Green Lantern or Aquaman and the other story, so he's probably got one big storyline. That's why he's got one big storyline going. And the artwork's by Alfaro Martinez and Raul Fernandez. You know, these books are also apparently, looks like a break for the regular creative team to get them either caught up or a little breather. Looks like Aquaman is no longer with Mara, so interesting. So pick that up if you want, and then also that means you probably will have to pick up Aquaman and the Others #1 also, Future's End #1 in order to get to it. Phantom Stranger, Future's End #1. Phantom Stranger and I have a very interesting relationship. I actually was the Phantom Stranger for Halloween. Like I think my last Halloween where I actually went out and trick-or-treated, I was dressed as the Phantom Stranger because that was when the Mike Mignola, P. Craig Russell miniseries came out, and it was gorgeous. Absolutely loved it, so I wanted to be that character. And I've always liked the Phantom Stranger, and I've always picked up his stuff. I haven't been following his recent book. I mean, there was that period of time where I didn't buy comics for a while, and this is one of the ones where I didn't buy. I had been buying it up to that point, but then I lost 4 or 5 months, and then I just never was able to catch up. It doesn't matter because this is the last issue of the Phantom Stranger series. He and The Question and Pandora are all going to be going into a book called Trinity of Sin. And it's no longer going to be divided up because The Question didn't have his own book, but Phantom Stranger and Pandora did. Those 2 books have been canceled, and this new book, Trinity of Sin #1, is coming up. But before then, we wanted to do one last hurrah on the Phantom Stranger. James DeMatteis had been the writer on it, and I think he's the writer on this one also. to finish up his run. Yeah. Oh no, Dan Didio did the plot, who was the original writer on Phantom Stranger when it first started, and then James DeMatteis came in, who's doing the script. Was the writer of the most recent series, and the art's by Phil Winslade. And Phantom Stranger is a good book, and I don't think they had the 3D cover one. I might have bought the 3D cover one because I kind of like that cover, but regardless, doesn't matter. So Phil Winslade is one of those artists who's been around for a long time also. He's very consistent as well. Pretty good looking stuff. And it'll be good to read Phantom Stranger and get back into it, because I have, as I said, I've always liked Phantom Stranger. I've always liked the DC supernatural beings. So that is the last issue of Phantom Stranger, and probably when Pandora's comes out, that'll probably be the last issue of Pandora also. Now, the last DC Future's End book, tie-in or whatever you want to call it, is a book that that I used to read, and once I had my financial stuff, I wasn't able to pick it up, and now 6-7 months have passed, and I haven't been able to catch up since. I may want to, because they are going to be getting their own weekly series we talked about earlier, Earth 2. This is Future's End, Earth 2 number 1, where we get a glimpse into Earth's 2 future 5 years down the line. For those who don't know, Earth 2 is where the Justice Society is, but it's not the Justice Society you're used to. They didn't want to put it in the new DC universe, so they had to put them somewhere else, so they put them back in Earth 2. And it has its own series, and Huntress and World's Finest, Huntress and Power Girl crosses over with that as well. And then this is the Earth 2 weekly's coming up, and this story is going to play a big part in the big thing that's coming up next year, and I think also a big part of Multiversity, of course. This is written by Daniel H. Wilson with art by Eddie Barrows and Eber Ferreira. So I couldn't tell you if that's the creative team on Earth 2 right now, but not too bad. I mean, Justice Society. You got your Justice Society members, and then you've got I think Batman and Superman are in there now as well. So some good stuff here and there. So I figured Earth 2, I better pick it up because things are happening. So that's it for that week's Future's End one-shots. But we do have Future's End the series, number 18, with Constantine on the cover. Brian Azzarello, Keith Giffen, Dan Jurgens, Jeff Lemire, George Genti, and Dexter Vines and Carl Story are the creative team on it. There's Barda. Barda's in there. Continuing the storyline, as I said, is going to play a big role in it. And there's Green Arrow. So he's rolling, and there's Power Girl. So it's a good mix of characters, and it's a series. The weekly series is consistently 5 years ahead, so we're seeing what's going on 5 years ahead consistently, and these one-shots that we were just showing are just little dips into the storyline as well. The other weekly book, of course, Batman Eternal, number 22. Enter the Architect. He's the new villain apparently in this one. Scott Snyder, James Tynion IV, Kyle Higgins, Ray Fawkes, Tim Seeley. Jorge Lucas is the artist on it, and pretty dark, grim stuff. So it's another Batman book. Batman does play a role in it, and we learn all kinds of new stuff. Things are happening. Things are going on. Things that are going to change the Batman world are going right along. So pick it up and keep reading. Once again, I need to get caught up very soon. I've been a little bit behind. But from what I've read so far, both Future's End and Batman Eternal, they've all been excellent. Now, Justice League 33 came out last week. They're about a month behind. I don't know why, if it was a Forever Evil thing or whatever, but they're about a month behind. So that's why we got 33, and hopefully we'll get the one-shot, Future's End one-shot coming out on time this month. It should be if they've been using some creative teams. But I haven't really been reading Justice League that much, and when Forever Evil came, I I don't think I even was collecting it. I think I read I had the first trade, but I don't think I read it yet. And I have been reading because I've been hearing bad things about me. It's Jeff Johns. It was Jim Lee. You figure it'd be pretty good, but no, I've been hearing some bad things about it. So I just never got around to following up with it and reading it and going on that. So I just sort of let it drift. And then it had the big crossover with Forever Evil, so I started buying it then. But once again, I haven't read all Forever Evil yet, so I don't know what's going on. But then after Forever Evil, we have the new status quo where Lex Luthor has joined, or is requesting to join the Justice League as his Captain Cold, because they were the ones who saved the day in Forever Evil. And there's also the introduction of the female Green Lantern, Jessica, that Jeff Johns teased at the end of his Green Lantern run as well. She's finally making an appearance now. So I said, I better, it's a good restarting point, so I've been reading it since then, and it's been excellent. Jim Lee is no longer the artist on it. Doug Mahnke is, who I love his stuff, and he's been using, Jeff Johns has been using the Doom Patrol, who we haven't seen in the New 52 till recently. The Metal Men, another group of people that he's brought out and wants to introduce, and we are also got Captain Marvel, Shazam, whatever you want to call him, and the new female Green Lantern, Jessica, who could be really very powerful, and just Lex Luthor and Batman going at it because of things that are happening in the storyline, and just all around a good book so far. It looks like they've finally gotten back to their feet and gotten to what the Justice League is capable of doing. They're just a little bit behind right now, but hopefully they'll get caught up and everything will be good. So pick up the Justice League. It's pretty good. The last DC book is one I always rave about. Is not set in regular continuity, but doesn't matter, and is, for those of you who have kids, is a great book for kids. It's Tiny Titans number 4. Tiny Titans is such a great series. I raved about it last month when issue 3 came out. I'm not going to go crazy on that because I'm running out of time, and I still got some stuff to do. But it's a fantastic old school style comic. Art Balthazar and Franco do the story, the artwork. If you are not a fan of the New 52, this sort of, it makes fun of the New 52, but it also kind of keeps its foot in the door of the old DC universe as well, and just really fun family-oriented stuff. Aqua Cow, the pets, the super pets come in every once in a while, and just all kinds of characters you haven't seen in a while. Just a great idea, and so fantastic series. Tiny Titans, pick it up. It's good for kids. There's trades of the previous regular series that lasted 50 issues, so you get about 6 issues in each trade. I don't know, that would be what, 9, about 8 trades. So there's about 8 trades out there of previous Tiny Titans art of work, which you need to pick up. And then this new series is a mini series. It's not going to last that much longer, but it's still good to see, and it's fun. My kids love it, and I'm going to give them this comic once I'm done the haul. So and they love to read that. That's all for the DC. Marvel. First up is one of the stars of the summer, has his own book, Rocket Raccoon number 3. Absolutely brilliant stuff by Scotty Young. So if you like Rocket Raccoon and the Guardians of the Galaxy movie, you might want to pick up this book. It's a bit rougher, tougher, and Groot's in it as well. And it's kind of cartoony, but that's the kind of what you want to do with the story. And it's a little violent, so it might not necessarily be for kids, much like Guardians of the Galaxy wasn't. But if you were a fan of Rocket and Groot, this is probably a good book for you to pick up. And there may be some other appearances by other members of the Guardians of the Galaxy as well. So pick it up. Rocket Raccoon is excellent. Good storyline, good artwork. Scotty Young is the perfect artist for it, so fantastic. There's going to be a major Spider-Man crossover, which actually the first issue of which came in this week, and we'll look at that in a few minutes. But a series you're probably going to want to take a look at and follow if you want to read all the Spider-Verse stuff is Spider-Man 2099. This issue came out last week. It's number 3. Peter David, who was the original writer on this back in the 90s, I guess, 80s, 90s, is the writer on this one. I love Peter David's work, so it's good to see him back. The artwork is by Will Sliney, and it's a futuristic look at Spider-Man. It's not your Peter Parker. He's got a really cool costume, and Peter David's did a really good job in the original series. He does bring in some of the old villains with new takes on them. In this case, the Scorpion. So it's a worthwhile book, and Peter David is a really good writer. He can mix comedy and drama together. So Spider-Man 2099, you're probably going to want to start picking this up if you want to get the Spider-Verse, all the Spider-Verse stuff going on, because he's going to play a big role in it. And it's a good book besides the point. Peter David's the writer, and Sliney's the artist. A lot of people were kind of worried about this. I still haven't read it, so I haven't heard a lot of feedback on it yet, but Warren Ellis and Declan Shalvey were the creative team on Moon Knight when they restarted. They only lasted 6 issues. They only wanted to do one storyline, and then they passed the baton to Brian Wood and Greg Smallwood and Jordi Belair. But as you can see, they're trying to keep the similar feel to what Warren Ellis and Declan Shalvey did. This is issue number 7, the first issue of the new Brian Wood story, even down to using the crazy box scheme that Warren Ellis did, bringing the version of the special suited Moon Knight in there as well, and kind of gives you sort of a similar feel to Declan's artwork, but it's enough difference, and you got Brian Wood doing the story. So, if you like the original 6-issue series, you might want to check this out just to see if you'd still be interested in it. I mean, it's not Warren Ellis, but it looks pretty similar to what they were doing. So I would probably check that out just to if you don't like it, you don't like it. That's one of the cool things about it. You don't have to buy something if you don't want to. She-Hulk number 8. Charles Soule can do no wrong. He's been writing fantastic, and I found out something today I didn't really know, which makes him even more appropriate to write this. Is he actually is a lawyer when he's not writing comics? So we have Jennifer Walters, She-Hulk, being a lawyer, doing lawyer stuff. There's an appearance by Matt Murdock, looks like, in this one. So Charles Soule is doing the writing, and the artwork is by Javier Pulido, who I like his stuff too. So kind of good stuff. So you get it's a good storyline, and you get She-Hulk is a good, strong female character, and it's not just She-Hulk beating up people. It's her practicing law because she is a lawyer. So check out She-Hulk, good series. Check it out. Now, I haven't gotten. We're still having some money issues, so I may be going to the comic store again on Friday, pick up some of the holes I had. Black Widow number 10 also came out last week, which I haven't picked up yet, but I'm going to do that soon, and some other stuff as well. But the big thing from Marvel this month is Death of Wolverine. It's been teased in his regular series. He's lost his healing ability, and now he's going to be dying. So Charles Soule, same writer of She-Hulk, is writing this story with Steve McNiven artwork, and Jay Leaston and Justin Panzer as the inkers, and it's gorgeous. Steve McNiven's artwork is absolutely stunning, and we get an idea of it's Logan's last days. It's a weekly series because issue 2 came out. It's also $5, and I didn't have the money this week, so I didn't buy issue 2, but I will be, as I said, probably buying it on Friday. My issue with this book, though, I have a pretty big issue with it, and I'm going to go over it real quick. First of all, it's $5. It's a glossy cover. It's thick. You say, okay, it looks pretty good, It's a double-sized book. What are you bitching about? It's $5 for 40-some pages. It's gorgeous artwork by Steve McNiven, and Charles Soule is doing a fantastic job of writing. However, when you look a little bit deeper, this is the end of the issue, and we have all this left. So what is all this? Well, let's take a look at it. Oh, look. Bonus material. Sketches, commentary, and more sketches of the same book you basically just read. And then an interview with co-creator Len Wein, which lasts a long time. And then the director's cut, where we see Charles Soule's notes on how he did everything. Look, I'm all for packaging stuff up like that. Yeah, it's kind of interesting to read these interviews, see the process of making a book. But a weekly $5 book, it's 4 issues, a weekly $5 book, it's $20. Might not seem like a lot, but I'll add it on top of all the other stuff you get. And what do you get for it? You get a regular comic book, and then you get all this extraneous stuff. Now, yeah, as I said, a lot of people might want to see the process, but then there are some of us that don't. And I haven't seen any like non-special edition versions of this, so you're kind of stuck with this. If you want to read the story, you got to read all of the. Is the behind-the-scenes stuff interesting? Sure it is. It's just I just don't find it necessary right now. That's just me. So end of rant because I don't really have enough time. It's like I've got 10, 15 more minutes to hit the rest of the stuff here. Independence. This one's from my friend Kelly Toole. Alice Cooper #1. This came out last week from Dynamite Comics. It's Alice Cooper. Yeah, he's a mysterious horror whatever guy, and he is, the main character. Joe Harris is the writer, and Iman Casalos is the artist. So, if you're a fan of Alice Cooper, you might want to check it out. It looks a lot like, Emmanuel's doing a pretty good job of doing artwork, and, give that whole persona that Alice has. It's, it might be a good comic for you to check out. I got it mainly because my friend Kelly is a huge fan, but, I figure Alice Cooper's had a connection to comics before, and I just saw this also. Neil Gaiman wrote a story called The Last Temptation, which is focused primarily on Alice Cooper. He's been around for a while, so he's a good one to check out. So I might check that out. I bought that mostly for Kelly, but for me to read and to be able to talk to him about it. No, it looked interesting, and so I'll pick it up. Why not? I also raved about this book last month as well, so I'm not really going to do too much more. I'm just going to keep raving about it. Angry Birds #4, once again for my son. He loves these books. I love the books. The artwork is fantastic. The stories are fun. They're funny. The Angry Birds are actually talk, and the pigs talk. So, it's gorgeous, gorgeous artwork and great all ages stuff for kids. My son, 5-year-old son, loves the book. My daughter always wants to try to steal it. She wants to steal it, but she also asks to borrow as well. And Jeff Parker, who's a pretty big comic book writer, right now, Aquaman right now, he didn't write any of the stories in this issue, but he's written a bunch of the stories before. Paul Tobin seems to be writing all 3 stories. There's 3 stories, or 3 different artists, different focus on stuff. So no Jeff Parker, but that's okay. It's still a fantastic book for kids. Angry Birds #4 came out last week. You still might be able to find it. It is a great, great series. Another good one for kids. A little bit older kids maybe, but it's still pretty good. It's from Boom Studios. It's Lumberjanes #5. It follows a group of sort of like Girl Scouts as they're at camp, but the camp is filled with all kinds of crazy, weird creatures and things, and it's an interesting. It's written by Noelle Stevenson and Grace Ellis with art by Brooke Allen, and it's very there's some informative stuff about how to tie things as well, and artwork, but then they take on like demonic creatures. Like here's velociraptors, so they take on velociraptors and stuff like that. And what's kind of cool also is that everyone has a a little music mix that that are all real songs that may have something to do with this issue, and so you can find all these and play your own mix for each one. I mean, you've got it's not just it's a lot of artists I never heard of before. You know, Stromae, Rai Rai, Santigold, Kate Earl, The Kills, but then you've got people like Fleetwood Mac and Joan Jett and David Bowie in there as well, Erykah Badu. So it's a great series. I read my daughter the first 3 issues. They're a little interesting, a little bit different, but she still enjoys them because she wants to be a Girl Scout, and it's basically, it's doing a Girl Scout thing. So absolutely check it out. Lumberjanes is excellent. Also from Boom Studios, we have The Woods #5, which is by James Tynion IV, who's doing the Batman Eternal stuff. Michael Dialnis is doing the art. Great story idea where a school gets transported to an alien planet and a group of like Breakfast Club kids, different backgrounds and different beliefs and different attitudes, go out and try to explore, try to find a way to get off the planet, and they start to bond, but then they also run into trouble along the way. So it's a brilliant comic. I thoroughly enjoyed the first issue. Haven't followed up on it, but you've got dwarves and dinosaurs and creatures and all kinds of crazy stuff. So definitely check that out. And the last one from this week, or last week I should say, is Grendel versus the Shadow #1 from Dark Horse and Dynamite. Matt Wagner is an artist who's been around for a long time. He created the character of Grendel, done a bunch of comics with them, did one of the best Batman miniseries, is Grendel versus Batman, did the artwork and stuff like that. Well, he decided he also writes the Shadow for Dynamite Comics, so he decided, why don't we cross over them both, and I'm going to draw it. So Matt Wagner hasn't drawn anything in a while, but here's Grendel. Grendel is not a good guy, type of ninja, kills people and stuff like that, but is a very cool design, and is going to take on the Shadow right here, which is a good design by Matt as well. So the minute I saw that he was doing the artwork as well as writing the story, I figured I got to get it. So it looks absolutely stunning. This is 6 issues, or is $6. But unlike Death of Wolverine #1, there's a spine on it, and it is all comic. There's no extraneous material. So and Matt Wagner artwork, which I love, so I was okay with spending the extra money for that. All right, 2/3 of the way done. So that's all the stuff that came out the last 2 weeks. Now, your store may or may not still have these up on the shelf. My store did. I also got a lot of these from the Baltimore Comic-Con. So if you're going to any cons, they might have them there as well. So those books that I just showed you may be available at your local store. So if you saw anything you liked in that pile, go ahead and go for it. Now we're actually going to get caught up finally. This is the haul for this week. Once again, I had a bunch of other, as I said, a bunch of other books I had to get caught up. So there's a bunch of books I didn't pick up this week, and I might pick up today, but I might pick up on Friday, including some other Futures End one-shots of series I don't normally collect, like Birds of Prey and Suicide Squad. They've got their issues came out today too, so I might pick those up. Again, I bought a couple of the variant covers that I kind of liked, one of which was so these are books that came out this week, so these will be available at your store starting today. Justice League United #1. So you've got the Team Now, and this is the Team Now, and then the Team 5 years from now. So what's interesting about this is that there is it's written by Jeff Lemire with art by Jed Dougherty, and as I said, it's going to sometimes cross over with other stuff. This crosses over with Justice League Futures End #1. So this is just the first part. And we get a little bit better view of Equinox, who is the Canadian superhero, who we just met in the regular series. She plays the big role in this one. She goes to see Animal Man, and then we find out some other stuff's going on. There's the Flash and Cyborg, and some other members of the Justice League are in there. So that's where the crossover comes from. And they're going to try to find John Jones, who was a member of Justice League United. And I'm not going to show you the big reveal at the end, which is really cool. But this storyline will be continued in Future's End, Justice League #1. But if you like Justice League United, like I do, another great series, pick up the #1, Future's End. It's going to be worth it. The other variant cover I bought is Batgirl #1. This is Gail Simone's final issue. You've got Batgirl and her Batman villains, and then you shift it, and you've got Batgirl and new Batgirls. There's in 5 years in the future, there is a team of Batgirls, including, and I'm not spoiling anything because pretty much everybody can tell you, including Stephanie Brown and Cassandra Cain. So they become Batgirls down the line, and Barbara's getting married, and all kinds of stuff goes on. So here's the Batgirl team of Cassandra and everybody, Stephanie Brown and others. Written by Gail Simone with art by Javier Garron. As I said, this is Gail Simone's last issue of Batgirl. The new creative team, Cameron Stewart, and I can't remember the artist who's coming on. They start the new storyline coming up next. Bane makes an appearance in here. Fantastic. Last Gail Simone Batgirl should be full of surprises. Big news about Gail that you might not have heard. She is writing a Secret Six book coming out in December, which is phenomenal. I cannot wait to see that. Art by Ken Lashley. So she's not, she's not disappearing. She's just going to do her main love, which is Secret Six. So Godspeed. And I've seen some of the stuff from the new Batgirl series. It looks good. New creative team, so that's good. So Batgirl Future's End #1. Green Lantern Corps Future's End #1. Looks like there's John Stewart as a member of the Indigo Corps, which is great. This is written by Van Jensen, who is the writer on Green Lantern Corps. Art by Igor Lima, Roy Jose, Rodney Buscemi, Geraldo Borges. So we get Green Lantern Corps 5 years ahead. See what's going on. They look pretty much the same. What's going on? Ooh, looks like crazy stuff's happening. So. Very interesting. So John Stewart is the focus of this one, and it appears the Indigo Corps also is making a big appearance as well. Fantastic. So Green Lantern Corps Future's End #1 is out today as well. Batman Future's End #1 also came out this week. I don't think Snyder wrote this one. I think this one's written by Ray Fawkes. Let's see if I can find the creative team. You have Ray Fawkes, story by Ray Fawkes and Scott Snyder, art by Aiko. And we see, Batman 5 years later, as he looks now, just doing what he does. So. You've been following Batman, you might want to check this out. Pretty good then. So Batman also came out this week. As I said, there were a bunch of other first one-shots of Future's End that I just didn't pick up because I didn't have the money to, and I may pick some of them up on Friday when I get more money. So I'm not going to do another haul, but especially there are other ones out there, so if you're interested, check them out. Leading into Future's End #19, the newest issue of Future's End. It's got Power Girl and Deathstroke on the cover. As I said, Brian Azzarello, Keith Giffen, Dan Jurgens, Jeff Lemire. In this case, Scott Eaton and Drew Garassi and Dan Green are the art teams. it looks like it's continuing the stories of what's been going on in the weekly. Batman Beyond Batman plays a big role in it, and a lot of other characters as well. So all kinds of neat stuff going on. So check that out. As I said, going to play a big role in the future. Joke. The other weekly, as I said, Batman Eternal number 23. Once again, lots of creative team. It's Scott Snyder and James Tynion IV. Tim Seeley, Ray Fox, Kyle Higgins. Artwork by Dustin Goyen and Derek Fridolfs. It looks like we focus on Catwoman and the continuing destruction of Gotham. So all kinds of stuff going on. Once again, this is game changing. These are all game changers for Batman, the Batman series. So you might want to check out Batman Eternal. My store has every issue out, so I don't know if other stores are doing that as well. But most of them have all the issues out there. Once again, another book I've raved about before. I'm not going to rave too much about because I've already raved about it. If I had more time, I might. But Astro City, number 15, comes out today. Just another fantastic book. If you go to a store and you're brand new, I highly recommend picking up the Astro City trades and reading them stuff. You'll be hooked in an instant. Kurt Busiek, writer, Brent Anderson, artist, Alex Ross, creative, did the cover and also has creative discussions involved with that also. I could go on just all day about Astro City, how great it is, but I'm not going to because we got other stuff to cover and I'm running out of time. But definitely go out and pick that up. That's the end of the DC stuff. As I said, there's more stuff out there, and I'm probably going to pick up some more later this week, but right now this is all I could afford. A couple weeks ago, I talked about what my favorite crossover coming up is. That is the Spider-Verse, hoping that it's going to be great. Well, Spider-Verse is going to be showing up in a couple months, but for now they need to get some stuff built up about it, so they've created a series called Edge of Spider-Verse, and the first issue came out today, featuring Spider-Man Noir, written by David Hine, who is a creator of Spider-Man Noir, with Fabrice Sapolsky, and artwork by Richard Isanov. It's a gorgeous book, gorgeous-looking book. Richard Isanov is doing a great job with the artwork, and the character of Spider-Man Noir is a very interesting one, and I'm dying to read this, and I can't wait to see what's going on with that. But there's just creepy stuff, and we're looking forward to a great cover. So Edge of Spider-Verse has started. It has begun. So if you're like me and you need to get your Spider-Verse fix, Edge of Spider-Verse is here. You're also going to start seeing a lot of stuff that's starting to happen in Amazing Spider-Man, and they're also bringing back Superior Spider-Man for this period of time. Now, I'm wondering if this is a weekly, because in the back they have, no, I don't think it should be a weekly. I think it's just going to lead to, in the back they have the checklist of the Edge of Spider-Verse. Superior Spider-Man 32 and 33, Edge of Spider-Verse 1 through 4, Amazing Spider-Man 7 and 8, and Spider-Man 2099 number 5 are all, I believe, parts of the Edge of Spider-Verse. So you'll be seeing all of them over the next couple of weeks probably, and I guess Spider-Verse is going to be starting really soon. So I'm wondering if we've got if this is a weekly, so we'll see what's coming up with that. I really don't know. Also, speaking of Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man number 6, Dan Slott, Humberto Ramos, Victor Olazaba. Continuing the storyline that's been going on with the Black Cat, and also some more characters rolling in the Spider-Verse, including Peter's new girlfriend, who is a member of the new Spider-Verse. There's her character right there. She's covered in webbing right there. Humberto Ramos is doing a great job with the artwork, and this series is probably going to end one storyline and set up the Edge of Spider-Verse storyline. So, fantastic. So there you go, Amazing Spider-Man number 6 is here. My wife and daughter have been fighting over these 2 books, which is a good sign, which means that they're interested in it. Captain Marvel, number 7, came out today. Kelly Sue DeConnick wrote it. Artwork by Marcio Takara. It's fantastic artwork. I really like it a lot. And it's a storyline where it connects with the Guardians of the Galaxy, because that, of course, that movie is doing fantastic. So you are going to want to cross over with them because people might want to pick it up. So, but it makes sense because Carol is now in outer space, so she would run into the Rocket Raccoon and the Guardians of the Galaxy. So it's not just a setup for just a tie-in with the movie. It's actually a big part of the storyline. So check it out. Captain Marvel, my wife and my daughter both give it thumbs up. And the other book that they both give thumbs up to is Miss Marvel, number 8, which came out this week also. Great cover. Lockjaw appears to become a regular character in the book, which is great. G. Willow Wilson is the writer. She is a Middle Eastern woman who's writing a Middle Eastern character, so it's a great perspective on their point. And the artwork's by Adrian Alfona. So just all in all, a great series, great book, a lot of fun. My daughter absolutely loves both Captain Marvel and Miss Marvel. She's talking about that she wants to dress up as them either for next con or for Halloween. So Kelly, Sue, you've got yourself a new member of the Carol Corps probably, and who knows, maybe Miss Marvel also. So fantastic. I'll read those as well, but they belong to my wife and daughter, so it's their stuff. So once I do the show, I'm going to get right back to them. Magneto, number 9. This ties into the upcoming Axis storyline, which is another Avengers X-Men crossover. Not that much interest in reading that, but Magneto is a fantastic series. Cullen Bunn, who wrote the Sinestro book I talked about earlier, is doing the writing, and Gabriel Hernandez Walta is doing the artwork. It's Magneto as you've never really seen him before, once again sort of as an anti-hero. This appears to be a flashback episode, but the artwork is excellent, and it looks like we've got some appearances by the Red Skull, flashbacks to his time in concentration camp. And that also means a possible appearance by the Red Skull, who was a member of the Nazi art party and stuff like that. But the artwork is amazing, and it's a brilliant story. So check out Magneto, number 9. And if you're interested in the Axis storyline, the crossovers coming up, that's probably a good place to start as well. Almost done, friends. Nightcrawler number 6, my last Marvel, is another great series that really surprised me how great it is. Chris Claremont, who hasn't written anything in a while and is the definitive X-Men writer, is writing this book, is doing a heck of a job, and he's got the perfect artist in Todd Nook. Kind of cartoony, but at the same time, fits the character perfectly. Chris Claremont knows this character like the back of his hand. I love the artwork. I love the storyline. And I love everything about it. So I highly recommend you check out Nightcrawler. So a good 1-2 punch in Nightcrawler, and Storm, which came out a couple weeks ago, is another good X-Men solo book you might want to check out as well. That's it for Marvel. I've got 2 independents, and then I'm going to call it a night because I'm tired, and you're probably tired of hearing me talk. I'm always interested in finding new stuff. This just looked interesting to me. Copperhead number 1 from Image. It's a sci-fi thing. Looks like you've got a tiger creature type of thing. It's written by Jay Faerber, who is a good writer. Haven't seen him in a while, and artwork by Scott Godlewski. But it looks like a sci-fi-esque type of book. Nice, clean artwork. Crazy creatures. Good storylines. So interested to see what they're going to do with it, and what they're going to do with it is creator-owned, so anything can happen. So looking forward to seeing if I enjoy this and looking into it. And then finally, Lazarus, number 11, Greg Rucka, Mike Lark Great female superhero, super spy type of thing. Spy stuff. Gorgeous artwork by Mike Lark. Um, just a real good moody feel. Greg Rucka is a fantastic writer. Michael Lark's a great artist. Two of them have worked together many times before, and every time it is excellent. So that's my comic haul. So all those books came out this week, so check those out. The ones I did previously came out previous weeks. As I said, there are a whole bunch of other books out there that I haven't talked about, that I haven't bought yet, that I might buy down the line, or I might not because I don't really need them. But there's tons of books that came out this week. So if you did see any ones that you're interested in, just go to your comic store, find one you might like, and check it out yourself. Try to see if you can find the ones that I talked about, or you might find some ones that I didn't even mention. So just go into the comic book store and just look around, have fun, find a local one, the Comic Shop Locator Service. Go to CSLS in Google. They'll search it for you, and you'll find it. They'll give you all the stores within like a 30-mile radius of you. Check out, find one for yourself. Go in, spend comics, read comics, enjoy comics. On that note, I'm going to say good night. Again, Vicky Adesso, thank you very much for letting me know that I was not being heard, and hopefully it was being able to be heard now. So real quick, tomorrow my What Lovely Life Dawn Snarks, along with Scott McDonald, will be on the Snarkaholic Radio Show with Tony Solo, Kelly Toole, and Mike from Pagan. So check that out, 9 o'clock tomorrow. And then Saturday, my regular show, Dylan Knows, instead of it being on Sunday, it's going to be on Saturday because my co-host, Gigi Fletcher, cannot make Sunday. Plus, my wife, Dawn, is going to Redskins football game, so I need to watch the kids. So I wouldn't have been able to do one anyway on Sunday. So Saturday, 4 p.m. Eastern Time, Jerry and I will be doing our top 10 Pixar movies of all time. So that should be a lot of fun. Monday, this is brand new, I just thought of it today. Monday, September 15th, this upcoming Monday, will be my 1-year anniversary of doing my Dylan Knows YouTube show, which is my other show that I do. So to celebrate, I will be doing an episode of Dylan Knows. It'll be episode 52, which should be the last one within the year framework, and it'll be an out of my head where I will just once again just be talking like I am now, but I won't be. I might talk about some comics, but I'll be talking about other stuff as well. I highly recommend you check that out. Should be a lot of fun. So on that note, I've talked enough. Go to the comic store, buy comics, enjoy comics. If there's any cons in your area, go to a Comic Con in your area. But yeah, just go read comics, buy comics, enjoy comics. That's all you need to do. Night off.